Here we go. All right, we got the.
Is there a specific trowel you like using, Jeremiah?
To mix grout, I use margin trowel.
What's that called?
A margin trowel.
Margin trowel. Okay.
Or use a low speed drill, a little mixer.
Okay.
Then we get a sponge to wash it down with, a float to apply the grout, razor knife to clean your grout joints.
How do them grout joints look? Are they clean enough, ready for grout?
No. So we
Oh, really?
Put some mastic through there, stick it poking out.
So you're saying like this all this mat, this right here?
Yeah, all that right there.
Right. You want to hit that with the razor knife, Bam? And
Yeah. So essentially, you want to clean that before you even get started grouting. You got to make sure it's okay.
Do they make tools to clean the grout lines, or you just use a razor knife?
They make tools, but
And to me, mastic is a softer compound, so it's nothing like thin set far as cleaning it hard to. You just want to scrape it enough for your grout to fall in that hole. You don't have to dig it out.
and as long as you can run your finger across the grout joint and you don't feel it, it's low enough to grout over.
Gotcha.
You don't have to grout it, scrape it all the way down to the drywall.
is that mastic easier to clean as far as, or thin set?
Mastic to me is easier.
Easier to clean than thin set.
Yes, sir. Thin set's more of like in my mind, like cement.
Yeah.
And mastic's more like sheetrock mud.
What's the proper consistency of mixture for the grout?
So we're ready to mix. All right.
I like the grout a little thicker, so that way, especially when you're doing walls, that way it's not falling off your float when you're trying to stick it to the wall.
So it's not running like water?
Yeah.
Makes it messier, but. So what we got? We got a bucket of water.
Clean bucket, a bucket of water.
A little water goes a long way to grout.
Yeah.
Does the bag tell you
If you're
what
gonna
how to mix it? I mean, I know you guys know, but
If you're gonna mix the whole bag, then yeah, it'll tell you how much water you're gonna need.
Kind of want it like pancake mix, don't you?
Yeah. I like waffle cheddar, but
Now I'll get served, baby.
so I noticed too, you ain't got, like half a bucket or nothing. You just got a very
small amount.
small amount. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, now, one of them bags, how much square footage of tiles do you consider that bag being good for? That bag of grout will cover a lot of square
Yeah, it'll cover a lot. Like I said, you can also mix it by hand with the margin trowel.
Is that normally how you do it, Jeremiah?
This is how I normally do it. Is I don't use the drill, I use the margin trowel. But it's all preference as long as you're using a low speed.
What happens if you mix it on a high speed?
Air bubbles and it'll set up faster.
Same way with paint or anything else, the longer you mix and.
Yeah.
Yeah, same way with hot mud.
Yeah, and then you let it sit for 5 minutes.
Okay. All right. So Dave, what were you pointing out? What were y'all saying?
These tiles have a ridge right here on the edge, so it's going to be harder to grout because when you're grouting, it's going to go over and you're going to basically fill this whole area in.
Yeah,
it's
so
gonna be
these
harder to
ridges,
wash.
I gotcha. They have ridges, so it's harder to get in between there. Huh? So like that. I see. So this isn't the easiest stuff to grout.
This is gonna be
So
more of a lot of cleaning.
is it?
You want me to find some black grout for you?
Yep. All right.
We got our grout set up. I'll get another little mix real quick.
What's your preference on start area, Jeremiah?
When I start, I usually start in the top corner
Yeah.
and then work my way down. Put this down here.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be good.
Just fill in all the grout joints.
Is there a certain way to apply it? Or
Just smear it in. You try to get as much excess off as you can.
Want to pull in all directions, huh?
Yep. Make sure you fill everything in.
So there's not a one way you want to do it. You kind of want to go multiple ways to make sure it's getting in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
does grout shrink?
No. It does crack, that's for sure. Especially on backsplashes, corners, and where it meets the top countertop.
Is it more so cracking from settling or from the grout being mixed with too much water?
Movement of the counter, corners. Like especially in bathrooms, like commercial bathrooms with partitions.
Yeah.
Cracks in the corner a lot from partition doors slamming. Make sure you get in your corners good.
What do you recommend as far as the corner? Do you recommend grout caulk or?
Yeah, a lot of times we use grout caulk in the corners to avoid the cracking.
You got some in your truck, Jeremiah? Grout.
No, that's all right. I'll find some and show them that.
Then you just let it sit up for a few minutes. That way you don't wipe too much of the grout out of the.
So if this was, so this is just a corner we've done mocked up, but if it was, you know, a 10-foot run, how much at a time would you do?
I would do the whole thing.
You would go ahead and go across that entire 10-foot run and then come back and sponge it? Okay.
How much setup time do you have on that grout before it starts getting too thick to,
Usually about 20 minutes or so.
and then it starts
Then
setting?
it'll start. You can still get it off, but you just can put a little more elbow grease into it. Then I'll come back and wipe it down.
Now, is there any special way to do this, or you just?
I swirl it in to make sure you get everything, because then even going different multiple directions, you'll still have voids.
All right, real important what he just done by flipping that sponge over. Use one side till you get it full of.
I got you. Okay, I
You
didn't
don't
even
wanna
catch
have too
that.
much on there when you're trying to swirl it in, so you just leave more for you to have to wipe off when you come back. And just make sure you get all the big globs out of the corners. Swirl it all in, then sponge out. I always come back and start at the top, wipe one direction, flip it over.
Another. It's down there. Almost clean all the way across.
Yep. Come down your side. Wipe one little bit, flip your sponge. Then I always come back at a 45. once I do the top and the side. One pass and flip your sponge. Otherwise, you're just smearing your grout in.
Yeah, so you don't let it just build up.
No.
Okay,
All
you're constantly
doing is
rinsing out.
smearing it around and just
Gotcha.
dragging it.
Yeah, with every pull, flip, pull, rinse.
You always try to make sure you don't have no buildup in the corners. That's the biggest thing a lot of people do is
Yeah, they'll have fat little packed
Yeah,
grout
down
lines in
here.
there. Yeah. Yeah, you can see how clean. Wow.
Even as clean as it looks, though, make sure that you go back and wipe it down.
Yeah, it'll
it's
still
gonna have
haze,
a
right? It'll
Yeah,
still
you'll
have a
a
little.
haze once it actually dries.
Yeah.
If you get a haze you can't wipe off with a sponge, what do you use then?
I use a dried rag.
Dried rag?
Because so you're saying it'll harden up a little bit sometimes, or is that why you have to use the rag?
No, it won't harden up. It's just easy to. It's called polishing it, and it just wipes off with a rag. If you go back with a sponge again, you're just gonna basically smear it again.
Gotcha. What you think, Marvell? Agree. All right. What else? Any other little tips, tricks, or anything like that? So what do you? So
What do you use for your corners? How do you get the grout in the corners and keep it clean?
Just smear it in. And a lot of the times, though, when I grout the corners, I'll come back and wipe it out with my finger because it's hard to get in there with a sponge. Or
do you
larger
do?
trowel.
Do you use something specific?
I just use my finger.
Do you do?
Keep it clean.
Push it in there. So how long do you wait for it to set up, and then do you ever have to go back for a second pass on all of this, or?
Not if you wait a little bit to wash it, because then you're not digging it out when you're washing it.
I gotcha.
If you go too early, it'll dig the grout out of the grout lines. And then
So how long then?
catch up.
I gotcha. And is that why you do the whole pass?
Yeah.
So by the time you get back, it's set up good. It's okay, and it'll still come off. It don't give you any problems, even if.
Some texture tiles will, but this polished tile, you usually don't really have too much of a problem.
Gotcha.
Unless you're gonna wait like over an hour or something like that, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
So,
So
between grouting and wiping, you normally wait, what, about 10, 15 minutes?
he's saying basically, as long as you don't let it go over 20 minutes, you should be okay. Polished tile.
Temperature got a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Temperature. So what do you mean by that, Marvell? Like if it's more humid,
Yeah.
it's a problem.
Dry
It don't.
faster.
Okay. So what is this?
This is the grout coat.
And what would you use that for?
Typically corners and the bottom between the countertop and the backsplash.
What about that top? Do you ever use it up there if you
Yeah,
need?
I've
No,
never used it up there.
because he keeps his guts clean.
The top won't move. It won't contract and expand. So
The grout caulk does come in colors to match the grout that you put in.
So like if you got to do a, because sometimes this grout it'll get pinholes, and so is that where you would use this preferably, or are you actually going to go back and regrout those small sections?
Where, out in the middle or in the corners?
Well, I guess if you're in the middle, right there where he's pointing, right?
Grout. You want to go back and put grout back in there.
You okay? Got it.
Because you can tell a minute difference in that grout caulk and the grout, and you want to have that only in the corners and along areas where it is.
So let me ask you this then: is there an issue like on paint? There's certain stuff that even if you remix that, it won't come out the same. And I think we've had that. We've had that issue where even though it's the same bag, you know what I mean? Whether it's the same person, the mixture is different or whatever, you put the grout on for a touch up, all of a sudden it looks yeah, it looks different. So it's best to do it all at once out of the same mix. But if you
Especially on the same walls,
okay,
you know what I mean?
yeah, and then if you end up like, you know, and we've had it happen before where it starts to look different, is there a way? And do you ever get the stuff tinted or do any of that type of stuff? Not with grout so much, right?
Yeah, not with grout.
Okay.
Whatever color you want.
Yeah. But if you do start to run into that and where the color starts to, you know, look different, lighter or darker, what do we do then?
Maybe those grout is a color match. You got grout that got a color match kit, and maybe the mix is different.
Now, would you go back over the whole thing with that one kit? That way it's, you know what I mean?
You could. That's probably the best
Yeah.
to get it matched.
Okay.
Yeah, you've seen the situations where we've had to paint grout before.
Yep.
Because of that.
Yep. Same
scenario.
issue where we had to end up going in with essentially grout paint, right? Is what it was, and color it in. And then we've had issues. Okay, so we've had issues with hazing before too. So what causes? Or do y'all know? And I'll edit all this down. But like when it hazes over, you know, you'll wipe it, you come back in 30 minutes, and it's just continuously hazed. We've had issues where we just could not get rid of that haze.
Yeah, usually if you get a haze and you can't wipe it off with just a rag, you use vinegar. I usually use about a half a gallon of vinegar to maybe 2 gallons of water and wipe it down, because vinegar's got like 5% acid in it. And then if that doesn't work, worst case scenario, you use a cap of mineral or muriatic acid and about 2 gallons of water. But you have to be careful you don't put too much in there.
Yeah.
It'll change your grout color.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else about grouting?
That's it.
Good.